Alright, so let's get started. I will continue talk a little bit about the texture for the last tutorial, especially in VR. So the first thing I like to talk about is the texture flickering issues. So if you pay attention to the breaks, if you move the camera, you can see a weird pattern. We call the flickering patterns for the break. It seems like there's a certain geometric patterns being formulated when you look at this break, right? The reason is this is called a Moray pattern. So when you have, let me see, I have a link right here. Moray pattern. So basically that means if you have a very dense break pattern or some horizontal parallel lines, with anti-aliasing in computer graphics, it will make some weird patterns show up. It's really difficult to solve because the density of the break and also the sharpness, right? So in Unreal, if you look at a pattern like this is just because the break pattern is too dense, too sharp. So the solution is, if you look at my break, it doesn't have this kind of flickering problem. The reason is, if I open my texture, you can see in the texture I have applied a MIP settings. MIP means a minimap, so that means if the camera is really far away from the texture, it's using a lower resolution or blurred or manipulate version to replace the original one. So I think the original one is called no MIP maps. So if I choose this option, this is original sharped image, and then if I play, you can sort of see the pattern show up, right? Especially in long distance, you can see the pattern gonna be actually pretty annoying. So the solution is here you just apply a MIP. In my opinion, you can do blur, you can do sharpen. Sharpen 10 is the minimum kind of manipulation for the original. So it will actually get rid of the weird effects and still make the pattern pretty sharp, right? So if I want to do the same thing, for example, for this break, right, which has this kind of weird Moray pattern, so I will do is I will have to select this building, and I know this is the pattern called texture. If I double click, I can actually see this is the texture of the break, right, which is very dense. So here if I let me just make this as a full screen. So here if I search, right, I can find this pattern right here and double click. You can see this pattern is very dense, right? So here I will just simply apply let me see, texture group, MIP, I will just do a sharpen 10. Okay, so save it. So now if you look at this break, it doesn't have it. Well, still a little bit. So here is really you have to, is this the right one? I think maybe this is not the right one. Oh, this is actually there's a multiple break pattern. I think this one is with some cables on the top. Maybe this is the one. Yeah, okay, I think this is the one. Okay, so I will go ahead and change no MIP to sharpen 10 and click save. It doesn't really, reduce the quality. You can see that weird effect is gone. Okay, so same thing for any repetitive patterns. Whenever you see some weird Moray effects, you can go ahead change the MIP setting to something else. So here, if I go to Johnny's school, I definitely see there's some patterns happening here. So here, if I browse, I can sort of see that all the textures here. I probably need to do the MIP for every single one of them. So I will just do one so you can get a point. So here, double click. I will change this to sharpen 10. Okay, and save it, close it. So I will probably do every single one Here's another. I will do sharpen 10, save it, right? And then I will do, I think this is another break pattern. I will do sharpen 10, save, close. Okay, so yeah, they are a little bit better now, right? Um, I think I have another one probably. Yeah, this is the one. I will do sharpen 10, save, close. I think that's it, right? Did we do this? Okay. So these are all the textures. So the school now should look pretty stable, right? There's no flickering issues anymore. You can check all the directions. It all looks good. All right. So the same thing for this white brick, I would assume, or this guy, right? This orange brick. So I will do this really quick. Let's change this to sharpen 10, save it, and then this white brick, sharpen 10, and save. Okay, so now you have this pretty stable texture display. Cool. All right, so the next thing, I think that's enough about the MIP and the Mori pattern. Next thing I'd like to talk a little bit about Android preview. Because we are setting this up for Quest 3, so which is basically Android. So in Unreal, in the settings, you can actually go to preview, Android, you can turn on the generic Android welcome. So this is basically config your PC's display to match with the look of the Android mobile VR. Once you set up this, you can also see this became available. This is just a preview of Android. You do notice the quality of the rendering will kind of reduce because it's now using the GPU of your computer. It's kind of simulate the very limited Android headset. Okay, so just keep in mind you can do this kind of settings. Another thing is you want to do is if I turn on the light, okay, so here you can see a very minor fog. So the reason I did this is for building in long distance, I intend to kind of adding a little bit fog effects to increase the spatial depths. So the way you can do this is you don't have to do because I already did is I just add exponential height fog into the site, into the persistent level or the master level, and here I can define the density, I can define the color. See, the color is kind of white, the density is pretty high, 10 or 2, but I can do this as, I don't know, 20, so you can definitely see the fog will increase. Okay, so I think 2 is good. Add a little bit fog will help increase the depths, right? So this is a pretty useful trick I do all the times, adding a fog. And also I want to talk a little bit about the material. Because we are running this for VR, so you want to be careful about the material. Even though in Unreal Engine, if I go to Window, Fab, right, this is a library, you can see a lot of materials available. For example, you can go to Materials. If you just say Building, I want to create brick, there are a lot of really cool materials. You can actually search the free one. Let me see the price. I want to just show the free products. There's a lot of free textures. However, I think most of the texture are super high resolution, and also some of them has very complicated shader network. It might not work actually for mobile VR. So just keep in mind, even though in a fab you see tons of materials, you don't want to just use them directly in your project. You probably want to open with your personal Unreal project, just play with it. Don't use it directly. Okay. And also I want to show you is in materials there is a special group of material called decals. Decal is a really cheap way you can actually make 2D texture projected on the ground. So this is really useful if you want to do like a graffiti or some paintings on the wall or some kind of debris on the ground, right? Or like a water leakage. So this is called decal. Um, you can see that this multiple type of decals. So in our project, I already put a few decals here. If I actually go to here under the electric pool, this is a decal. So if I display with a light, right, you can see this is a shape. And the decal was made using a special decal material. So here, if I check the folder, Fab, Mega Scans, decals, and here you can see there's different type of decals right here. And also if I just search decal, you can see the decal I put it here. I just add 3 of them. So this is the first one. If I move, this is basically just a texture applied to the ground. It's very useful if you want to cover some place. Here's the next one. If I move around, you can see the decal. Right? And this is the third one. This is like asphalt. Right? You can make it. So this is the wonderful way you can break the repetitive patterns. This is called decals. Again, feel free to use this array. I don't think you need to do anything for your individual site. So just let you know, decals is a really good way. So in terms of the material, I also put a few basic material here in the level. This is called mobile starter content materials. So they are just really basic one, like grass, bricks, some concrete patterns. In fact, you can see on the ground I have applied some basic materials. So this are the one. If I double click, you see this material is really simple. It doesn't have much fancy shaders, and I have this UV control on the number of tiles. So the same one, if I go to the grass, right? So this is the grass material, and if I double click, you see it's very simple. Just color, base color, and the normal map, right? And I have some kind of tile control. Yeah, so this is the basic shaders. Again, you don't have to do anything, just keep in mind these are available here. Alright, let me see anything else. Yeah, that's basic shader. I don't know, this one looks very dark. Let me see if I go to the light. Maybe I can just apply a different shader to it. But anyway, I will do this after we have a finalized version of the Lincoln statues, not the current version. Alright, so this is about basic material and decal in Unreal. Yeah, another common issue I find out with the Android texture display is sometimes the texture will look like very low resolution. The reason is here when you do the mobile, actually it's here in the mobile texture, it automatically downgrade the image quality. So sometimes you want to manually dictate the full precision for every float. This will make sure even the texture mapping is very tiny, it still keep the full precision. The same thing I usually set up here. Oops, in the project settings, and here if you type mobile, I think, yeah. So in the project settings, in the mobile, you want to check out this option, use full precision for every float. This will guarantee there's no downgrade for the texture quality.